Welcome to Born on the Bayou Sports, a Houston sports show made for Houstonians by Houstonians. Join Tim Costello and Scott Barzilla every week as they break down the latest in Houston Astros, Rockets, and Texans news. Tim's a former minor league broadcaster, and Scott has written 2 books on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, if Javier could get it figured out, it would make things a lot easier because he was that guy everybody was counting on this year to be a Cy Young candidate, take that big step forward and help anchor this rotation with Fromber.
Since he's come to Houston, you can look at the development of guys like Carlos Correa defensively, Jeremy Pena defensively. I mean, you can Alex Bregman's, certainly I think a better than average third baseman.
And now you're putting teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Now here comes Will Anderson. Pin back your ears, let's go. So if you're Bayou born and bred, or just like spending time in the H, sit down, relax, and stay Houston strong. Welcome all my friends to the show that's running a day late. Got back last night from a business trip to Miami, so we're just having to push it back a day. But Scott, Astros are off today. Kind of seems like a good time for it to do a Thursday broadcast this week.
Then hopefully not $1 short.
No, I did okay financially, I guess. I didn't have to spend much of my own money, which is always nice when you're traveling on a business thing and you get to throw that corporate card down for every meal that you eat. The only thing I paid for was my late night candy one night. Like I was sitting in my hotel room bored at like 12:30, kind of got, a little sweet tooth. I went to the 24-hour Walgreens and spent like $7 on candy. So I did pay for that.
Yeah, I cannot do that, obviously.
I got to be honest with you, Scott. There's probably a time coming in the next 10 years where I'm not going to be able to do that anymore either. But I'm going to fucking ride her till she bucks me. All right, Scott, opening question time. We had thought we had something lined up, but I'm going to pull a little trickaroo on you, a little trickeration, and I'm changing it up. You had tickets to the game on Friday where the giveaway was a Hunter Brown jersey. I had made a request to see if you can grab me one. Unfortunately, you guys couldn't get there in time and they were gone. But the question is, what are your favorite giveaways? What are some of the memorable ones from maybe your time as a child that you remember trying to get there early and get, or, some maybe that you still have now that were giveaways? I think, if I zoom the camera out here, or I'll just go a little higher with it, you could see I obviously have my fair share of Astros giveaways as decoration in my office here. But Scott, what about you? What are some of your favorites?
I'm going to go with a situational one here, Tom.
Okay.
And my one was a Zach Greinke jersey.
Okay.
Because we went with some friends, some of my wife's coworkers took Ann, because she was, still with us, obviously. And I think an actual monsoon came through Houston that night. And so when we were going out, obviously none of us had brought an umbrella. So that Zach Greinke jersey became our umbrella. Worked out well for us.
That's pretty good, man. Hang on 1 second. I got what I want to show you. This one is meaningless to most people. It was a giveaway at the Sugarland Skeeters.
Oh, is that the championship ring?
It's a championship ring from the Sugarland Skeeters. I was there that season. That one was really, really cool. Ira put that one aside for me and grabbed it for me because they were going to give the part-time broadcaster and radio guy back at ESPN Radio a ring. And so he made sure to snag me one of the ones that was a giveaway. And so that one is pretty special. Obviously, the Astros ones that they did for different players, I think, are pretty memorable. And I fucking love bobbleheads. I don't know why, but like I remember specifically as a kid, I don't know who your cable provider was, but for us, it was, Fox Sports Southwest was channel 37. You flip to 37, It's game time. and, and they'd have the promotional schedule for the week, and it'd be, Moises Salou bobblehead. Mom, we gotta get to that game. We gotta get there early. It's Moises Salou bobblehead night because Moises Salou had my birthday. I always loved him. But I mean, there are so many great bobbleheads. I had a Milo Hamilton bobblehead with him and Alan Ashby at the desk. I have a Lance. I remember a Lance Burkham one. I remember a Jeff Kent one where his eyes and mouth were all goofy, just like it was when he was rounding the bases after hitting the walk-off home run in 04. I had a Biggio and Jeff Bagwell combo where they were like Biggio was throwing and Bagwell was receiving, and they were two different giveaways, and then they linked in together. Unfortunately, those guys broke because I brought them to like 4 different places I lived with, and at some point in transit, they broke. But man, I fucking love bobbleheads, Scott.
Yeah, I was gonna say my uncle has one of those championship rings because he did the hardware for the stadium, and
There you go.
that's his business. I was gonna say one of the favorite giveaways, obviously not every night, but the Pluckers 5 free wings for a stolen
Okay.
base, because we enjoy our wings.
How about
So,
the foul pole?
well, we've never been there for a foul pole win.
Oh, it's a good night when you're there for a foul pole.
But yeah, we enjoy wings. That might be one of our go-to. We used to do Buffalo Wild Wings, but Pluckers every now and then is a good.
I'm not a big Pluckers guy. I'm a boneless guy. I'll be honest with you. And Pluckers boneless game is lacking for me. But that's just me.
Well, they'll give us free when you get free stuff.
That's fair.
Their homemade chips are actually really pretty good.
I remember one year I went with my buddy Steven Aresti, and his dad had company seats, but they were like his company seats were like the last row in the upper left field deck,
Oh,
right? Like
God.
we were up against the fucking wall. I'm like, oh my God. But then like one year we're up there and we're the Academy row, man. Like everybody got like a $5 Academy gift card. I was so excited. I was going crazy on the Jumbotron. That was a pretty fun memory of a giveaway, was being the Academy row in like 2007. And I went and bought a Greg Norman straw golf hat with it.
Oh, there you go. Going in
It was
style.
Texas. It was a summertime. I felt I needed a little, but then I kept hitting it with my backswing. I didn't think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, Tim. I know you have a question right there fired up on the board.
I do. This was going to be the opening question, but I like I said, I called that audible. I think that was a fun discussion,
Yeah.
so I'm happy with it. But I was listening to Jeremy Branham today, and I can't remember the guy he had on, but he used to be a really big like Rockets Twitter guy, and then kind of rose to prominence in like the sports talk world just as a Houston sports guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Is it his co-host or no? Was it a guest or a co-host?
He was a guest on the show, but he was there in person.
Okay.
So call it whatever you want. I just saw a clip, right? But this guy was literally like, he is. I listen to you guys talk about the Astros every day, and you talk about the good plays and stuff like that. But I don't watch anymore, And he goes, and he looks at Jeremy Branham. He's like, why are you still watching, right? And I think everybody has their own reasons, and I think you and I, as baseball people, just have our own specific reasons of like why we still watch the Astros at this point. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I don't, we've spent a few weeks going on and on and on about what's wrong. Right. I don't think we can continue to beat that horse. Everybody knows what's fucking wrong, right? Like, again, we've got half our roster on the fucking IL. The ones that are there aren't playing great, and our pitching fucking sucks. Boom. How many times can we do that segment? But what I do want to talk about is why you and I are still watching, right? Because I sat in an airport, logged into my MLB app in Miami, Florida yesterday, holding my phone, watching it. The 2 nights before, I found a way to use an Apple dongle to make it the hotel TV on HDMI considered a second screen, so I can then open an MLB.com window up and watch the Astros on my TV there. I found like I literally go out of my way to find ways to watch this fucking team, even when I know we're probably not going to win the game. And I've done it my whole life. When I was in college, my roommates in one of the places I lived at literally had a rule that I was not allowed to watch the Astros in the living room on the main TV, because this was during the bottoming out 100 Ross years. And we're in San Antonio. We get the local broadcast, and I paid for half the TV. So I was like, fuck you guys. But everybody else voted. And they're like, Tim's out here watching the Astros every night. They're losing. Like, no one wants to watch that. So I had to go watch the Astros in my room. I mean, I get it looking back on it now, but this is who I've always been. So I'm going to kick it to you, Scott, because I kind of went on this whole soliloquy here, but I want you to kind of lead us off on, like, why are you still watching the Astros every night?
Well, I think there's two things, Tim. And I think number one, I think this team is evolving, believe it or not. They've been holding around 10 or 11 games under 500 now for the last couple of weeks. So I guess they're playing better in some respects. I think what's happening that's better, though, is I think that there are games, particularly when Imai was pitching early on or LMJ was pitching, we were just like, we're giving up 8, 9, 10 runs. This is going to suck. And the pitching is actually stabilized to a degree. Still not great. You know, like Burrows is a typical outing, gives up 4 runs in 6 innings. I mean, that's not good, but it's not terrible. So, you know, in any particular game, this team can win if they score enough runs. So there's that level of uncertainty there that helps. You know, the certainty of we're going to get our doors blown off is certainly not fun. But I think what I said to you in text, and I truly do believe this, is I treat seasons like this like extended spring training, where I think there's always something positive you can take from it in every game, even if it's like a defensive play. You know, in this game, you have your hitters strike out 15 times with no walks, and you're looking at it and you're like, God, that sucks. But Cam Smith has a couple of hits. So you're like, hey, maybe he's going to get going. You go to the end of the game. AJ Bluebow pitches a scoreless inning. And then, you know, Joe Espada actually pulls him for another reliever. Look at that. Nate Pearson throws a scoreless inning in his first outing back, you know, as an Astro. So there's always good things that happen in a baseball game, even when you're getting beat 15-1. You got the one. Somehow you got the one. So that's a positive.
I agree with that. I mean, I think part of my love of the Astros is almost ritualistic or habitual, right? Like growing up, that, like, first of all, in the world that you and I grew up in, to explain this maybe to some of our younger listeners, TV shows didn't have new releases year round. You couldn't watch good content whenever you wanted. Like, you know, September through April, you got new episodes. And then everything after that was just reruns, right? Like the summer rerun time period. Then some reality shows came out and filled that space a little bit. But for our family, like, we watched baseball every day. There was nothing better on TV at that time than the Astros, at least in our opinion, right? Like during that time of year at 7:05, what the fuck else are we going to watch? A rerun of Everybody Loves Raymond that you've already seen? A rerun of a movie on TBS that you've already seen? Or the Astros? So we watched the Astros every night. It was what we did. And, you know, that's something I continued on with because I cared. I love the team. I love baseball. It's a major part of my life. I wouldn't have met my wife if it wasn't for a love of baseball that made me chase a career in broadcasting and move to Dallas to chase a role here. So, I mean, the game is, in the words of, I can't remember who it was, but the game has been very, very good to me. Very good. But at the end of the day, the Astros are my team, right? Like I think that 2017 championship meant so much more to me than it did to 99% of fans because I never stopped. Like I never stopped watching. I never gave up hope. I sat there and was told I'm not allowed to watch games anymore in the living room because I'm hogging the TV with the Astros. When I was in Vegas, I put $100 on Wandy Rodriguez, the only good fucking pitcher we had at the time, to win at great odds, and it fucking hit, and it was amazing. It was awesome. Best feeling ever that I knew Wandy would have a good start because no one else would. And Wandy always stopped the bleeding at that point. It's right before we traded him to the Pirates. But I've never stopped, right? And even now, like, I was like, what else am I going to watch? So I'm going to watch a restream Parks and Rec again. What, I love this team. Does it suck sometimes? Yeah, it fucking sucks. But it doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean that I'm not invested emotionally. I'm not invested financially to the point, you and I pay for different streaming services to be able to watch this team. It doesn't mean that I'm not investing my time because I will. Like, I don't know how to not watch the Astros, right? I think that's what's weirder to me, right? When someone can just be like, they suck, I'm out. Because even taking a step further back, like I've watched every Texans game since we ever were a team. I have never missed a fucking Texans game. I may watch it on Red Zone. I may watch it whatever the best way I can, but I never just don't watch. I think there's actually, to be fair, there's one season, the Tyrod Taylor year. I was just like, fuck this, I'm done. But up until that point, like through all of it, I watched. Like we sucked, but I watched the Rockets. I watched the fucking John Wall shit. I watched the Kevin Porter Jr. shit. I watched. I didn't watch every single game, but I still watched. I didn't just say I'm okay. So I don't understand someone who can just say I'm good just listening to the radio. I mean, do you hit a point in the game where you're like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm pissed. I'm done. Absolutely. That happens to everybody. I have no problem with someone turning off a game because they're pissed. We've been there. But I can't understand someone who's going to fist pump and go crazy and go to the fucking parade who will sit there and go, yeah, I can't find a reason to watch.
I go back a long way, Tim. I go back to when no Astros home games were televised, if you could believe that. And so we had a room in our house that we actually called the extra room. It was a bedroom, Tim, but we were, just me and my sister. So it was just this, bedroom that nobody was using. So we put in a sectional couch in there. I still don't know how that thing fit in that room, but we put in a sectional couch and you had to put in this tube. You had this, circle this tube in the back of the TV, that little silver kind of
the coax cable.
Yeah, but it was like this. It was like a big.
The cable thing. You had to twist it tight.
Yeah, but the tube itself was like this. It looked like one of those decorative bottles of beer that sometimes the little tiny ones. It was that size.
Oh, we didn't. Oh, this is the special channel. That's right.
This is like the HSC days.
Yeah.
And I think Houston fans, and I want those of y'all who are Astros fans, I want you to hear this. I want you to understand this. We're spoiled. We're absolutely spoiled. Mm-hmm. This team did not lose 100 games until, what was it, 2011? Or is it, I think it was
10 or 11, or definitely 12, 13. It was like 3 in a row, right?
I lived through some of the leaner years where we were losing 90 plus games in the early 90s before Bagwell and Biggio figured it out. But I think 90, 91 was kind of the downtime where Mike Scott's leaving and, we're still trying to, we trade Glenn Davis to the Orioles in what was one of the biggest steals ever, by the way. I mean, that was Kurt Schilling, Steve Finley, and Pete Harnish for Glenn Davis. That's a pretty damn good trade. But I think, this team has not been bad. Like some other franchises just bottom out for decades. And so I could understand, like, if you're a Pirates fan, I can understand going like, fuck this shit. I'm not,
Absolutely.
I was like, I can't, or if you're a Marlins fan, it's like you just decimated, 3/4 of our payroll because you're a miserly fuck. I,
3 times.
I can get that,
I
but
mean, you won 2 World Series and then traded every bit of it away. Like yeah.
But my 2017 story here, Tim, right? We're watching game 7. We actually went out to eat. I don't know if you've ever heard of a place called La Breezes
I
down
have.
in League City. It's a Mexican food restaurant. We used to go out to eat with a family. So we watched like the first 3 or 4 innings at the La Breezes. Now is when Springer hit his home run, and we're up. We get home, and things are starting to kind of unravel a little bit. And the Astros gave up a run or two. And Janet wasn't feeling well, so I think she had some kind of a mini flu. She fell asleep, and the bleeding stopped. Charlie Morton comes in and just like shuts them the fuck down. I'm like, okay. And so I got to figure out, okay, when do I wake her up
You don't.
for her to see it? I woke her up with like 2 outs in the 9th inning. And I was like, okay, honey, you need to see this. And she was pissed for a while, but then she's like, okay, I get it. I get it. So yeah, that was like, and it was a moment where it's like, okay, who's the next team we got to play? Because I feel like this isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
We're Houston. We can't do this. There's got to be another team out there that we gotta play. So yeah, that was 2017 was very special.
In 2017, in the 9th inning of Game 7, I set up my iPad to record, and then like as the inning went on, I basically forgot that it was there, right? And I will always have my reaction to that championship in a room by myself, in an apartment by myself, in the city of Houston, and you could hear everybody, man. You could hear the whole fucking city going behind you, but I lost it. I started bawling, I started crying. So many people have made fun of my reaction, but it was all of it letting go, right? Like 2015, I was at the game where, game 4 where everything unraveled. I was fucking there. 2005 as a kid growing up, that World Series where you get there for the first time ever and get swept. 2004, fucking get as close as we did in the NLCS just to get knocked out in Game 7 because you decided to start Pete Monroe instead of fucking going with Clemens and Oswalt back to back to best your chances to win. Craig Biggio getting his fucking knee blown out on a breakup slide at second base. Jim Leyritz fucking costing the Astros in '98 when we had a lead in the 9th. I mean, all of it was just.
Now I will say 2022, I will take the L on this one. We were going to my cousin's wedding, and so we went over to my sister. She does Airbnbs because she brings her dogs along. And we kind of hooked up a kind of similar kind of setup that you had in the hotel room, which obviously comes with a bit of a delay. So I'm sitting there following the game on my phone, and I'm sitting on the sofa. Jordan hits his dinger, and I'm like going, and they're like, what? I said, just wait for it. Just wait for it. And they're pissed off at me for giving it away, but it was like I couldn't contain myself.
I actually do the opposite of you when I'm delayed. I take my watch off because I don't want any of the notifications. I put my phone down because I don't want to be bothered. Like a lot of times I'll FaceTime with my mom during playoff games and I'll make her pause her TV because she's live in Houston. And like I'll tell her so we'll be like, okay, this pitch just happened. And I'm like, okay, pause it there. And then when I get to that point of that pitch, I'm like, okay, hit play. And that way we're both live on the same thing. So she doesn't ruin anything for me. But yeah, man. And that's just to that point, right? Like you grew up in an Astros family. Like I don't understand. It's hard for me to understand people who didn't, right? Like, as you said, you put in a couch in a fucking room just to be able to watch the team every night as a family. My mom, and every night my mom's putting the Astros on. And like, if we went and did something, we didn't watch the Astros, she was calling a friend who she knew watched the Astros every night and said, "Hey, how'd the Astros do tonight?" Because you couldn't just check online.
Oh, Dad and I, the last thing I want to get to, but Dad and I, and then this is going to cause a sore spot, but Dad and I had our favorite game driving around listening to the Astros game. And it was guess the score.
Milo wasn't great at it. I know where you're going to go with this.
It is like Bill Doran has scored the Astros first runs. Okay, they got more than one. Okay, is it two? But I was going to say, though, bringing on to more serious stuff, I did mention, and I shared it with you, I wrote a piece that landed today at Crawfish, kind of suggesting that now is the time to tear the sucker down. And my main reasoning is that we know what's coming. Jeremy Pena and Hunter Brown are going to be free agents. I know Jeremy Pena after 27. Is Hunter Brown 27 or 28?
I think he's 27.
So they're not coming back. They're not re-signing. And so right now, if you trade them this season, the team that gets them is going to get them for 2 pennant chases. So they're going to be willing to pay a little bit more. I mean, some people have already suggested the Braves could be a landing spot for Pena, with their shortstop issues. And they're obviously running away with the NL East, and, maybe they want to take a run at the Dodgers. I'm sure, Dana Brown has got to know at least some kids in that system, you would think.
Do you trust his eval of them? That's the question.
Well, that is the question, right? And I think, Brown, there's not going to be a shortage of teams that are going to be in on him. Obviously, I think Paredes is another guy that is probably not going to be around much longer after, 27. Then you got your guys who are free agents this year. Like you've got Abreu, who has pitched, a few scoreless outings in a row here. So, maybe if he continues to throw up zeros, maybe some team will, give you something of use for him. And my thought is that I don't think, and I think Houston fans are sophisticated enough to believe you're trying to win if you spend the money. Like, I don't think it has to be these guys as part of the core. I think they're going to look at the overall payroll and say, like, hey, you're still spending $200 million. You're still trying to win this thing, even if it's going out and buying some mercenaries to pair with some of these kids that you get. But, like, if you had to pick one position, like you're trading a guy and you're getting mainly guys that are like double and triple A, like almost ready to come up, like what's the main position you think this team ought to target? Going arms?
Arms. So how did we win the 22 and 17 World Series realistically? Is we outlasted everybody with arms. In 2017, it was guys that we had so many starters that we used them out of the bullpen, but at the end of the day, we had enough arms to withstand everything. When Ken Giles started punching himself in the face and couldn't get people out anymore, we go to Brad fucking Peacock. We go to, Lance McCullers throwing 23 straight fucking bangers out of the bullpen. We go to Charlie Morton, as you said, to close Game 7 of the World Series. And then on the other one in 22, Fromber was fucking fantastic during that playoff run. Who was the righty from Mexico?
Urquidy?
Urquidy was fantastic, homegrown talent. CJ was fantastic, homegrown talent. You had the arms to go, and then you had the bullpen into it with Montero, with homeboy on the broadcast now, Presley, and Abreu, right? Like those guys got rode, and they got rode hard, and you had the arms to do it. So, I think playoffs are won with great pitching. At the end of the day, if you have the arms to do it, you can buy bats. You can always buy bats, but when you go to buy pitching, that's when it's already had I don't know, 1,000 innings on an arm, right? Like the Astros don't want to pay big money for pitchers. So they're always kicking the tires on fucking the Korean League or somebody else's wash-ups, right? Like they prefer the homegrown approach. They don't want to spend big. They'd rather grow them, burn them into the ground on high spin rate stuff, and let their elbow issues be someone else's problem down the road.
Okay, now Tim, I'm just going to tell you, my therapist has told me, I'm going to pass this along to you, that he's trying to hypnotize me to forget that Ryan Weiss exists.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about that. No, the deal actually that intrigued me, and I think I sent this to you, that I heard was Paredes and Pena for Toll and Early Boston. And I think, Toll as a former Horned Frog, which that always, makes me feel better. But both of those guys are good looking young pitchers, so that would be, something obviously you can look at. The one position that I would say that I would like to take a look at is I think Yainer Diaz is heading towards non-tender land. And you've got Walker Janik, who's hitting, I think, $123.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
So if you could give me a young catcher, that would be nice.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think we sign like an international catcher. That's like 18 or 19. I'd have to double check on that.
We might have, but to me, the problem with, and I think with the system, is when you look at the pre-Luna days. Who was that guy, a pitcher that we had that was like a number one prospect? He ended up losing like 16 or 17 games.
Kyle Lyle?
Yeah. Yes.
He went to Denver for a bit afterwards.
He was with the Royals towards the end of his career.
Yeah, he bounced around. He became a decent fourth or fifth starter for a few years, and then a 5 ERA innings eater on a bad team.
But we called him up early because we're like, oh my God, he's so much better than everybody else we got. And
it was like the Kozart years too, when Kozart was fast.
He was. To me, I think you've got to have a system where you're 2 and 3 players deep. Because the story I'll tell, and because this is back, I don't know if you collected baseball cards, but back in the mid '80s, there was a young shortstop named Kurt Stillwell who was supposed to be the next shit for the Cincinnati Reds. But they had this other minor prospect, nobody knew much about him. Some guy named Barry Larkin. And obviously the rest is history. Stillwell didn't make it, but Larkin actually did. I mean, if you want to go Astros, everybody was betting on Tim Redding.
God. He was so fucking every fucking fifth start he sucked, man.
And thank God that we also had Roy Oswalt and Wade Miller. That we didn't just rely just on, hey, we got Tim Redding. We don't need anything else.
I got, how about Chris Burke? Everyone bet the system on Chris Burke, but thank God we had the foresight to sign Kaz Matsui as well, Scott, to make sure that we're covered.
Oh, God.
I feel so bad for that man. Like he had better Japanese numbers than Ichiro in some ways, and he is now known for his butthole.
He was decent with the Rockies, but then again, everybody's decent with the Rockies. Eric Anthony, a guy from my childhood, you might remember that name. My personal favorite is a guy who never actually appeared in Houston. His name was Cameron Drew. And we were salivating over him because he hit 360 in Tucson one year. And we're thinking, man, this guy's going to be the next Wade Boggs. And, that never happened.
I got a player in mind. I want to give you a chance to guess who it is, because this is how I remember it was explained what this guy was going to be. And then I want you to guess who the player was, because he didn't pan out that way. Adam Everett, but he can hit.
Oh, shit.
That was what we were told when he was playing his rookie year.
Did he hit a couple of dingers in Wrigley in his rookie year?
I don't remember that. I remember a
Oh,
one.
are you okay, so you're running through a history of shortstops here. So the guy in my memory, I was thinking Orlando Miller.
No,
Are you thinking Andrew Harcedeno?
no. This is after. It's literally like this is how he was described on the broadcast. It was like he's as good defensively as Adam Everett, but he can hit. I can tell you the second part was a lie.
Well, yeah, because
He ended up in the Independent Atlantic League playing for the Sugarland Skeeters.
Shoot. I mean, and the only other shortstop I can think of is Eric Yelding, but that's probably not it either. Who you got?
Tommy Manzella.
Oh, okay, okay. See, there's so many bad. For me, the '80s was the time because you remember how long Alan Ashby was a catcher for the Astros.
I think it was a fairly long time, but you got to me, Alan Ashby was the color guy.
He was the catcher from '79 to '88.
Okay.
Every year, they're like, we got this hot young catcher is going to replace Alan Ashby. So you got Robbie Wine, you got Ed Bailey, Mark Bailey. You got who was the other guy? Ed. Shoot, I can't even remember. But my favorite was Robbie Wine Jr. was going to be John Miserock was the other guy. So, I mean, my point is with this long-winded conversation is that you need multiple prospects at every position. You can't sit there and say this is going to be the guy because obviously
I agree with that, but you also need a plan, right? Like I agree with a lot of what your article said, but I think what's ambiguous in it, and you kind of alluded to it, is you have a last year of his contract head coach or manager. You have a last year of his contract general manager, and you want to break it all down for parts to be able to get back at it. The question number one, when are we getting back at it? Right? Because that determines what type of prospects we're going for. Are we getting high A studs? Are we getting double A, triple A ready to go guys? Are we getting some guys who've had some major league time already? Right? Are we trying to go back again next year? Because that also depends who's in and who's out. I think Pena, Hunter Brown, Paredes, send those out for sure, no matter whether the answer's next year, yes, or later down the road. But I think a guy like Christian Walker, who's found his power stroke, if you're trying to compete again next year, I don't trade Walker. You're not going to find, if the goal is to trade out some of the heavy stuff, reload with some money next year, the Christian Walker that we've seen so far this year is exactly who I want at first base next year, right? Gold glove level defense, hitting for line drive pop. And who the best part of his career was when he's a 250 hitter with home run power. He's about a 260 hitter right now, but he'll probably end about 250 at the end of the year. But he's got the power, and he's walking, and he's playing defense. So I don't want to trade Walker if we're trying to win in 2027. If we're going Jeff Luhnow route and everybody's on sale, and that means fucking Jordan, and that means Walker too. I don't think you ever trade Altuve. I don't think you trade Correa at this point. I think those two are going to retire in Houston. But outside of that, like I guarantee you, there's some team out there that looks at Yiner's track record and thinks they can fix him. You may not get a ton. You may not get a ton for it, but I would bet there's somebody who goes, "This guy's hit throwing homers. He was a 300 hitter. We can fix him." That's everywhere.
I would do that in a minute. But I think what I'm thinking is that so let's look at Dana Brown for a second. Just look at his evaluation of minor league talent. Do you think he is able to spot good minor league talent?
I really don't know. I don't. I think he can spot above average. I don't think he can spot elite, if that's fair.
It is, and because I would say if you want to say what the very best of what Dana Brown has done, I would say the Kyle Tucker trade's probably the very best thing he's done.
Yeah, but then you're also ruining Cam Smith.
Well, the decision to call him up immediately is a whole separate thing. But I think the identifying Cam Smith, because I think we can see the talent. I mean, the talent's clearly there. I think Paredes clearly on his own he's giving more than the Astros than Tucker is to the Cubs this year. And, and then Wisniewski, if he comes back this year, could give you something. Because I guess my point is that I see this rebuild in two phases. I see this as getting what you can for the expensive players that you have. But then I see you're going to use that financial savings to sign key free agents for 27 and 28. And that's not Dana Brown's strong point. But the thing is that Dana Brown's not going to be doing that because he'll be unemployed by the time free agency hits this next offseason.
Correct.
So somebody else making
now
that call.
But now you have a dead man walking, identifying talent who I think what Dana is best at is finding the shoemakers of the world, right? Like I think he's done a nice job of these, AAA or quadruple A guys who can come in and help you in a pinch. I think he's done a nice job of that for the most part, right? Like last year's Zach Short or what was this Hummel? Or I hated him, but he filled this role for the fucking 3 weeks that we needed him. Trammell, another guy.
Hey, he's rehabbing. He's making some rehab outings there in the minors.
I miss Trammell's a fucking ball player, right? Like I think Trammell's earned his stripes, but at the end of the day, I don't think Bryce Matthews is a stud. I don't think Zach Cole is a stud. No. I don't think we traded away. Who was the one we traded for Verlander with the Mets? The outfielder
Clifford.
No, the one playing for the Giants now.
Oh, Drew.
Drew Gilbert.
Yeah.
We had some outfield depth, but
what I was going to say though is that if you look at who Dana Brown drafts, it's the same profile. All these guys have the same profile. They're all plus tools.
I mean, he loves a high school shortstop.
They're all plus tools across the board. I mean, Matthews can do everything on a baseball field except put the bat on the ball consistently. But if you're asking me a sabermetrician, I would sit there and say that's the most important fucking tool that there is. But he can do it, but they seem to think, okay, we can teach these guys how to hit. So if you look at Cole, if you look at these kids that they drafted, Ethan Fry, if you look at Nayans, if you look at all these guys, Kevin Alvarez, you look at all of these guys, they're all plus power, plus athleticism guys. But I guess my point is the difference is that if you're looking for double and triple A talent, you're looking at guys who have either developed that tool or haven't. So you're not as so much guessing anymore. Is my hope.
But I think part of the problem is as you've already alluded to, the system is bare. So if you remember back to the stripping of this team in, I guess that would have been like 2010, 2011, right? So Berkman goes, and in comes Brett Wallace, top prospect, hot, ready to go. Brett Wallace immediately promoted. Roy Oswalt goes to the Phillies, and in comes Singleton and Jared Cozart. I haven't talked about this a ton on the show. I think I've alluded to before. Like Jared Cozart and I were friends, right? So I knew where Cozart was in the system with the Phillies. And in the Phillies system, he was stuck in Clearwater, Florida. He was like the number 23rd prospect in the system, and that is A-ball. In Clearwater. He gets traded to the Astros, and he immediately becomes the number one prospect in the system. Think about that. You were the 23rd best prospect in the Philly system, and you were traded to the Astros, where you become the number one prospect, and you are getting the fucking red carpet rolled out for you from that point going forward. And he was on a pretty quick path to the major leagues after that. So that's going to happen again. That's something we have to think about. And when you talk about we can teach these guys to hit, no, we can't. No, he fucking can't. We had the head of our major league hitting committee was Alex Cintrone for fucking God way too long. And clearly we didn't teach anyone at the major league level to hit. And that shit spread down. Okay. That fucking philosophy was passed down through the whole fucking system. So we may be in a better spot now, but I think I want a guy like Joe Mauer, right? And I know I'm not going to get a Hall of Fame player, but what I mean by Joe Mauer is he was a line drive gaps hitter. That was what he came up as. As he got bigger and stronger and older, yeah, he turned into a 20-25 home run guy because some of those line drives got out. I don't need you to think this guy's a 50 home run guy. Get me Michael Brantley's. Well, get me guys who just hit line drives because those line drives, as they get bigger and stronger, will get out.
You remember a guy, this is a guy you're kind of pegging at, and he didn't make it, but I thought he had a shot. Colin Moran.
Okay. He played for a minute. He
played for a minute. He was off to a good start, and he got hurt.
Yeah.
So he almost like he got DeCenzo'd in a way. And so, because that's happened to DeCenzo now a couple of years in a row now, where,
he played for the Pirates for a while.
Yeah. But he was that kind of a hitter. He was that kind of a, if a player from my youth who actually had a cup of coffee with the Astros, Dave Magadan, if you want to look him up. 300 hitter. He was one of those where he had like the future stars and tops, and then those but he was never going to hit for power, but he was a guy that could put the bat on the ball. Give me a kid. If you're going to draft an 18-year-old kid, give me a kid who can put the bat on the baseball. Power can develop. Guys can get stronger. And maybe it develops or maybe it doesn't. See, what their thought is, hey, this guy's got raw power. Okay, that's great. You want Rob Deere on your team?
I feel like how many Pedro Serranos can you have in one fucking lineup, right?
So that's where the direction I want to see. Ideally, I'd want to see a new GM do both of it, but I don't think that's going to happen. I have to think, I almost think this road trip is almost the key. Is that we got 7 more games?
Yeah.
If this team goes, let's say 2-5, do you think Joe's out?
I don't know. Depends what 2. If you beat the Rangers on 2 of 3, I think that probably helps save them. I don't know. He's not coming back in 2027, right? I think everybody knows that. That's a giant elephant in the room. I don't know. I almost feel like they're just going to ride this thing out with him and let him go at the end of the year at this point, which you and I both agree is the wrong decision. But let me ask you, people are coming back, right? Like Correa's out for the year. That's unfortunate. We don't know how long Altuve is going to be, but let's assume post All-Star break. But now you've got
4 weeks. They said 3 to 6 weeks.
So we'll call it post All-Star break.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got Myers coming back. You've got Brown coming back. You've got Pearson is back. Hader's getting closer. And you're not terribly out of the division. Do you think there's still a chance you make the playoffs? You alluded to the pace that the Astros would need to go on, you think, right? Like, they've done some crazy shit before. You don't think it's in this roster?
No. And the main reason why is because, look at the Altuve situation, right? Did Altuve, was that a training issue? No. That's just one of those shit happens. And you cannot convince me that this roster is going to make it through 4 more months without any more shit happening. Because it always does. It happens for every team. Problem is you've put yourself in a position where you now got to play to 110%
Perfect baseball.
110% of your roster's capabilities. Right? You need everybody to be on their game, and you need a few guys who are like, where the fuck did that come from? And I just don't see it. Because I think, number one, I think, Jake Myers is back, but he's got one blue pit. That's it in 2 games. Jeremy Pena is starting to heat up a little bit, so I think I'm hoping that he's going to play better than he did in his first 11 games before he got hurt, but he's not going to be 2025 Jeremy Pena, I don't think. What's going on with Joey Loperfido? To me, Bryce Matthews, he's okay. He's good defensively in center. He's really good defensively.
Yeah.
And I think Zach Cole's athletic enough to play center field. And, Trammell comes back. He's plenty good to play center field. But none of those guys are good baseball players. They're players that if you have to start them every now and then, you're like, okay, I can deal with that. But you can't plug in a Matthews and go like, oh boy, here we go. Because you're gonna
leading off as well in a lot of cases.
You're in at least one, right? You're gonna see a lot of golden sombreros out of that guy.
Yeah. I don't know, Scott. I've seen crazier things, and this goes back to our original question of why we still watch, because there is still a chance, right? You and I would both agree there's a chance. Is it a large chance? No. And I still think the right move is to sell. But I think, as you said, this road trip's going to be pretty important. What if you go 5-2 on this road trip?
Well, yeah, then it's a different deal, right?
Exactly. So now I don't know how. I think what helped Jason Alexander more than anything in his last start was the fact that he didn't know he was starting until right before the game, right? Like, I think a lot of times those situations jumpstart a player and you kind of go off of adrenaline and stuff, and you don't overthink it too much. I'm really intrigued to see what his next turn through the rotation is going to look like. But I do think, Amai made one bad pitch. The second homer that was hit off him was his pitch. That was the pitch that was called. It was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball up at the letters above the zone, and he just went up and fucking got it. That's a tip your hat and say you got my best shit. He didn't really walk anybody, and it was one hitter through their whole lineup that it gave him issues. I think we're making progress with him.
Yeah,
Burrows again continues to have shit luck. Like, it's not bad, it's not good. It's just like, damn, if a couple things bounce a different way, Mike Burrows could be fucking 5-1 right now.
Yeah, I feel better about the pitching. I feel better. Like, to me, I would much rather watch a Bryce Matthews or a Zach Cole than a Cooper Hummel or Zach Short.
Yes.
Because, while he's going to give you the golden sombrero, Matthews is going to make some pretty damn good plays in center field when he's out there. And when he catches hold of a baseball, he goes a long fucking way. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with Zach Cole. And Zach Cole, if you get him on the base paths, he can do some damage. He can do some damage. And so there are guys. And so there are things about these young players that there's a lot to like there. But I think there's just way too much swing and miss to be good enough to win.
I haven't seen that lineup yet, but I'd be curious if maybe Matthews gets a little more time at second base, with Altuve being out for extended period of time, and now Jake Myers, Cole, all back. I think Shumik has been good, but I think he needs to start playing more of that Marwin role, where he's kind of giving everyone a day off. I'd like to see Bryce Matthews kind of solidify some time at second base, with everybody coming back healthy. Then for sure, like, hey, Myers can be traded at the deadline. There are plenty of teams that could use a good center fielder. Jake Myers, here you go. Give me a double-A pitcher who's okay. Have him. Enjoy. Right? Like, you've got plenty of center field options going forward. there's no reason Jake Myers needs to be an Astro post July 31st.
No, I agree with that. And yeah, you like you said, you're going to find out about Matthews one way or the other. I mean, I am interested in seeing a little bit more of Shoemake just to see if he could be a long-term solution as a utility guy.
But that's why I want him to play that Marlin
and-
type role. Give Paredes a day off. Give
Yeah.
Pena a day off. Matthews plays center today. You play second base. Myers gets a day off. But I do want to see him, as you say, play the Marwin role, rotate around, play a day in left field, play a day at first base, give Christian Walker a day off. I want to see you play the Marwin Gonzalez role.
Yeah. So that's where I was thinking with that article. I don't know. Do you think, are we getting into awards time?
I think so. I think that was a fun, different look at the Astros this week, Scott. A nice reminder of why we're here at the end of the day talking about this team. But let's start off with the POW right in the kisser. Scott, who are you giving a good whack to this week?
Hold on, let me there we go. I have to remember what I was okay, now I remember. I'm going to go with Nick Caserio just mainly because, and I think this is on behalf of 31 general managers. Have you seen what he's done with his second round picks?
Did he guarantee contracts again this year?
Fully guaranteed. Now, McDonald I get, because to me, McDonald, that's a decent bet. This tight end.
They see something, man. Like there's something there, Scott, because no one had him going that high. And then, as you said, guaranteed the 5th year on that motherfucker. I don't know. So they see something.
Well, and I think I was reading an article where they explained that the Texans are in that phase where they're looking for specific players that do specific things, so that he might not have been a highly rated tight end at that level, but maybe they thought he was the best blocking tight end at that spot. And, they're looking for that Blake Fisher kind of sixth lineman sort of guy. Maybe they want to run some 2 tight end sets and they're thinking that, okay, Schultz is our pass catcher and this guy's our blocker. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I mean, they signed, who was it, the tight end that they signed? I can't be like Bob Uecker. Hell, I can't find it.
Which one? We've got like 7 tight ends on the roster right now.
I can't find it. No. And on behalf of the other 31 GMs, why are we doing this? Why are we fully guaranteeing contracts for second round picks? I think Caden McDonald's going to be a good one. I believe in, the talent evaluation. I believe in, the performance, obviously playing at Ohio State, you got to believe in the level of competition, but do we know for sure? I mean, we drafted a defensive tackle in the second round out of TCU several years ago, and that guy was like out of town by the second year.
Not a football school though, Scott. Not really a football school.
Well, no, it was like, okay, but that's one of.
Can you really take someone in purple seriously at the end of the day?
You saw the scouting report on Andy Dalton, right?
No, I'm sure I did 20 years ago when he played. I mean, I don't know.
The scouting report was, has there ever been a redheaded starting quarterback that made it in the NFL?
That's a good question.
It's like, you're not wrong.
You want to trust your franchise to a ginger.
Was Boomer Esiason? Could you label him a ginger or no? Or is he a daywalker?
I mean, I agree with you though. There are situations like last year, the Texans didn't do a first-round pick. They traded back. They took Higgins early. Okay, like treat him like a first-round pick. But now, as you said, they've kind of made it the standard for this team. And in some ways, it's an advantage, right? Like you get that extra controllable year on a guy like McDonald. Like if you're positive, this guy is a hit, okay. But I do think you're right. Like you're setting an interesting precedent that a lot of other teams aren't prepared to do. And I think there's a couple guys who held out last year who felt like they deserved that year, guaranteed because the Texans were giving it, and a couple teams might have been forced into doing something they didn't want to do. So, I really was under the impression that like the draft slots had almost like assigned value. In the first round, I know that they do. So it's really interesting, I guess, that rounds 2 through 7 are really just a free for all. And does that mean if you thought you nailed a 7th round pick that you could be like, I'm just going to guarantee him 5 years because I think we nailed this and I want to pay him a seventh round pick salary for 5 years?
Well, I think the slot is still there. I mean, he's getting the salary slot, but they just fully guaranteed the 4 years, which to me is peculiar with the tight end because I don't know if he's going to be here 4 years. I just don't.
I think he's such a project that he will. I mean, at some point, someone's got to take Brevin Jordan's spot on the IR, Scott. Like, you can't.
All right.
I don't know who it's going to be, but there's got to be a sacrificial lamb out there somewhere.
Who do you got, Joe?
This is tough. I don't know if I have really someone I need to punch in the face this week. I don't know, Scott. I guess I'll agree with you on yours. I've got some horses ass and scumbags, but I really don't. I don't know. Did I really mention anything of punching this week?
I got a minor one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with the clickbait yet again. Did you know that Jim DeShays is dead?
Oh no.
And of course, what's the first thing I, a responsible journalist, did when I saw that?
Googled it? I don't know.
Yeah, Googled it. And like, is Jim DeShays? Nope. He is still alive. So just a minor little, fuck you to clickbait.
Yeah, man. Fuck them. All right, Scott. Let's do horses ass because I am prepared for that one.
All right, so I'm going to go with.
That's on me. You gotta be honest. That's on me this week. I should punch myself in the face for being unprepared.
All right, so I am going to go. Unfortunately, I love this company, but I'm going to have to go with the horse's ass with HEB. All right, so I want you to follow along with me. In our last commercial, you've got Jose Altuve. Where's he at now, Tim?
He's on the IL.
You got Carlos Correa. Where's he at, Tim?
Out for the year. Waking up from a coma in that commercial.
Yes, he was. And Jeremy Pena, who just came back from IL.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a suggestion for HEB. I think Nick Allen needs to bring some mayonnaise. Let's see, who's some other like nondescript, white guys that we can, Ryan Weiss. Ryan Weiss cooking on a barbecue. He's doing brisket. And who's a third guy we could throw in just for fun?
Let me get Christian Javier.
Hobbling in the
like buying HEB brand Tylenol, right? Like he's buying generic brand like acetaminophen. So I got to tell you that's where I'm at right now because even Janet's. Let's take it back farther. Lance McCullers was huge on the commercial with HEB. He's had an injury-riddled time in Houston. Springer had quite a few injuries himself. Correa had a lot of injuries at Houston, featured in the HEB commercials. You might be onto something. I'd have to check the Texan side as well. Maybe we go back and look at that. Well, Will Anderson and CJ Stroud primarily, so I don't think there's much injury concern there. But CJ missed 4 games with a concussion. Knocking on wood, Will Anderson was pretty healthy last year, so CJ missed 4 games with a massive concussion. Yeah. So, all right. So, who you got, Tim? You're ready. You're chomping at the bit here. I do. I got a good one. My horse's ass this week is Bryson DeChambeau. Quoted this week as, I'm in that weird space right now. I don't know what to do, either content creation or professional golf. I just don't know what I could do right now. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you are one of the few people in the world who are able to play pro golf, right? And live as folding. We can all pretend and stick our head in the sand and act like there's going to be some sponsor that's going to come in and save it when the Saudis pull their money out at the end of the season. But Bryson, along with Phil, flipped his fucking middle finger to the PGA Tour, and he did it in a way unlike Koepka or unlike Patrick Reed, where they can back channel and get their way back into the tour. Like Bryce is going to have to bend the knee and fucking apologize to a lot of guys. It's going to be expensive for him. He's going to have to pay a big fine. And so instead of doing all that, he's going to take his ball and go home and play YouTube fucking golf. It's just so frustrating. This whole situation, Scott, never should have happened. Live golf never should have been a thing. We shouldn't have allowed this fucking fissure to ever happen, because all it did was take some of the stars of the game and give them way too big of a head. That's all it did. Like, to the point where Bryson's now thinking he has to retire because he can't go back to PGA Tour. It's beneath him. There's no way he could play in that format. I could just do YouTube golf now. Like, what the fuck? Could you imagine Jack Nicklaus at fucking 31 going, I think I'm just going to do home straight to VHS videos about golf from now on. I think that's the future. If I just make a bunch of VHSs, you guys ever seen those Ernest movies? It'll be like Jack Goes to Memorial. You know, it'll be Jack Goes to Pinehurst.
If he's making VHS videos in 1971, I'm freaking impressed. I mean, I don't even think Beto was
like.
I don't even think
it like,
Beto was a thing.
Okay, at 40, right? Like whatever in the 80s.
Okay.
In the 80s, instead of continuing to play golf, Jack Nicklaus has decided that he's going to release straight to DVD, and he just goes and plays the best golf courses in America, and that's just what he's going to do. First of all, people would buy it. They absolutely would buy it. Second of all, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous now that YouTube golf is as big as it is. I can't understand it. Like, it really, I get that people like to watch golf and they like content, but we're just watching random Joe Schmoes play golf at this point. Like, I really don't understand it. Second of all, you're telling me you're not willing to do the work to be a pro? You're not willing to respect the game enough to fucking grind and play some mini tours and get your card again and pay a fine and all that stuff and just compete. You're going to just fucking give up and hit flop shots over your glass house for the rest of your life? Like, fucking A, man. Get out of town. That is the horse's ass award, is get out. Go.
He's waiting for that rib surgery, Tim.
And he's in Dallas too, so I might run into him at the Muni.
But yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of reminded. I don't know if you ever saw a show called The Closer. But
I did not watch it, but I know what you're referring to.
There's one episode where, two characters who are always getting into trouble, and she at the end is like, okay, here's a list of the shit you're going to have to buy for other people based on all the hoops they had to jump through to get your ass out of, out of trouble. You imagine your commissioner comes up, okay, Rory's kid really wants one of those new iMacs. He'll tell you how many gigs, and whatever, to put in it. I don't know that sort of thing. And I think
it's more than that, bro. He's paying for fucking Rory's kid to go to college at an Ivy League school.
Scotty Scheffler, he wants a townhouse. He wants a new a vacation house in Hawaii. I think that you get with him and his realtor, they'll take care of that for you.
I think he starts a college fund for Poppy, which is Rory's kid. I think Scotty gets like a new Bugatti or something like that, like a sick fucking car. I think Colin Morikawa gets like 12 rides on the jet. I think he gets 12 free PJ rides. It can be used at any point. Doesn't matter if Bryson has something booked or not. Morikawa's rides are more important. I think Xander Schauffele should just get Bryson's house. Like, Bryson has to move out and just like hand the house over, and he has to go find a new place to live, and he has to hand the deed to his house to Xander Schauffele. And after that,
the commissioner's just going to be like, and I want season ticket skyboxes to the Dodgers.
No. It's got to be obscure, bro. It's got to be like, I want a suite for the Colorado Springs Rockies in AAA with food and drink every game for the year, right? Like you got to do like something outrageous out of the, like I want to go. I want Savannah Bananas season tickets, right? Like that's what you ask for. I want Savannah Bananas season tickets. Like the hardest ticket to get is a 5-year fucking waiting list. So you find a way to get me that.
All right, Tim. We ready to tip some caps?
Always ready to tip a cap, Scott. Who do you have for us?
I am tipping cap. We mentioned him, kind of poke some fun, but in all seriousness, LMJ, Lance McCullers Jr. I have a feeling this is the end. I usually call this a soft retirement. And I kind of pegged it. He's every third or fourth outing is a good one. The other 3 are usually shaky. And so they finally looked at it and they're like, we can't come back and keep giving this guy the ball every 5th day. And so they he's got a shoulder, he's got his, he went back for testing. Nobody has said what the testing revealed, but I have a feeling he's going to wind up on the IR for longer than the 15 days. He's going to be there for probably closer to 60. They may bring him back if they're out of it in August and September. They might just like let him do like one of his like farewell runs. But I think we've seen the last of meaningful baseball from LMJ.
I think you're probably right. And I think you're right to give the career of Lance McCullers Jr. a hat tip. Right, guy came up in 2015 as a hot young rookie, was integral in the 2017 World Series run. He closed out Game 7 of the ALCS with 23 straight fucking curveballs, and he started Game 7 of the World Series. He is a huge reason why you win why you go to the World Series in 21, right? Because he guts it out, goes on short rest against the White Sox, ends up getting hurt, finds a way to come back in the 22 season. And let's be honest, is a big reason why you're able to win the World Series in 22, right? Like even though he gets roughed up in the first couple innings against the Phillies, he realized he was tipping pitches and he took that one on the fucking chin and he saved the bullpen. He still won a fair amount of time. And what do you do the next game? You throw a combined no-hitter between Javier and your bullpen. So, the history of success in Houston is a large part. Lance McCullers is there the whole way, and he's a big part of what we've done. And that's just on the field, right? I've told the story I had of finding out there was a family member who was a military family member returning home, and they wanted to find a way to surprise their daughter. And I just like, I know Lance McCullers cares. Let me fucking message him and see what he says. And Lance brought this girl on stage, made like she was winning some other award, and then next thing you know, surprises her with his dad, or with her dad. I'm sorry. He didn't have to do that. I'm just a random fan, like saying, "Hey, Lance, I just saw this on Reddit. Is there any way you could help?" And he got their information, he lined it up, and he helped that girl out. He has a pet rescue in Houston that he supports, and he helps, save a lot of different animals and help them find homes and help kids have pets growing up. Like Lance is everything that you could have wanted for a homegrown star, right? Like you drafted Lance McCullers, you paid him over slot to get him to stay with you out of high school. You brought him up, and he was here for your entire run, and he was the ultimate pro. Do you wish the injuries worked out differently? Absolutely. But you and I talked last season about guys who bleed Astros orange. There's never a question in my mind that Lance McCullers bled Astros orange.
And to me, the moment that meant more to me on the baseball diamond was Game 3 of the ALDS in 2022. Lance goes, I think, 6 or 7 shutout innings when you didn't know what you were going to get from Lance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one Jeremy Pena wins it with
18-inning game. Yeah.
yeah. And, obviously, if he gives up any runs, you don't win that game. It's 2-1. It's in Seattle. You're starting to sweat a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably just a little. So I always love him for what he did, in Houston. And he's an example, I think, of that. We talked about the Astros, of how lucky we are. And we're lucky to have players like Lance, for the 10, 11 years that we had him. And I just, it bugs me that he has to go out this way, but I want to tip my cap to him because he came back this year and he gave it everything he had.
I think you and I have used the Rocky Balboa analogy for Lance McCullers, and it's almost like, where Rocky 3, where he realizes he's kind of been putting the less than powerful contenders in the ring with Rocky, right? He's getting fluffed up late in his career. Rocky found a way to re-engage and become a champion again. But I think Lance tried that. I think he tried to attack the zone differently this year than he had in years past, and sometimes the body just doesn't allow it anymore. And I sadly think that's where we're at with Lance. For his sake, I hope he's just able to, retire at a point where he's healthy enough to enjoy his family going forward, right? Like, what I don't want for him is to try and keep pushing this to the point where, like, you can't pick your kids up, right? I think that would be my biggest concern for a guy like Lance McCullers, is because he wants it so bad. Don't ruin the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that for Lance. I want him to just be a happy Houstonian going forward. Like, I'd love if Lance was on the Astros broadcast. I think he should be a first ballot Astros Hall of Famer. In my mind, there's no question Lance McCullers deserves an orange jacket. And you move on. Right? I think he was a wonderful Astro, a wonderful pro, a wonderful Houstonian. And I think it's a great hat tip, Scott. I think you really nailed that one.
All right. Who you got, Tim?
Scott, I want to tip my cap to Jose Altuve. I think, sadly, this stint on the IL is really going to be costly in terms of that chase for 3,000. When you look at time missed between 2020 and this. But we've talked about how lucky we were. And, with Lance McCullers and Jose Altuve both on the IL, this is the first time since 2017 that the Astros have played a game with no one who won the World Series in 2017 on the roster. Between Altuve and McCullers, those guys have carried that banner for a long time. And I think we've started to see a different Jose Altuve in the last couple of years. He's not the same exact player. But, man, I love watching that guy play baseball, Scott. And I'm tipping my cap to him because I don't think he's getting the soft retirement. But I do think that we're in a different phase of Jose Altuve's career. And I think we've compared him to Craig Biggio for a long time. And I think this is another Craig Biggio comparison of those last 3-4 years of Biggio, where he was a 250 hitter. He had a little bit more pop because he was swinging harder, but we all knew why he was still there, right? Like, we all knew he was playing to get to 3,000. And he wasn't quite the same player, but we still fucking loved it. We loved every minute of it. And I want to tip my cap to Altuve, and I want to remind everybody, let's enjoy these last 4 years, right? Regardless of what the seasonal outcome is. We got to watch Jose. We're getting to watch, and we're going to continue to get to watch for however long Jose Altuve play baseball in an Astros jersey. And when all things are said and done, that man is a first ballot Hall of Famer as a player. And he is a first ballot Hall of Famer as a human being. And he's going to go on the Houston sports Mount Rushmore without a question. He is one of the greatest 5 Houstonians of all time when it comes to athletics. So now that he's not there playing second base, and we really are feeling it for the first time in a long time. I'm tipping my cap to Jose because I miss him and I respect him and I love him. And I'm going to enjoy this twilight of the run in hopes he gets to 3,000.
I'm going to do a minor addition to that. And really, because everything you said, I think is way more important. But have you seen how his contract is structured?
I mean, yeah, but I don't remember the specifics exactly.
In his last 2 seasons, he's making $13.5 million.
That's pretty cheap.
So to me, here's a guy that not only gave the team a hometown discount overall, but I think he was willing to structure it in a way where he knew in those last couple of years he wasn't going to be the Jose Altuve of old, but wanted to give them the financial wherewithal to put pieces around them. And so, I mean, that just shows how unselfish he is.
I mean, again, last year, this is a guy who's going to go in the Hall of Fame as a second baseman. Offers to play left fucking field because it could have helped the team and it could have brought in an extra bat and you could have found a way to bring Bregman in and keep him there and all the other things that they said, right? It didn't end up working out that way because we brought in Brendan fucking Rodgers instead. But at the end of the day, how many look at the situation with Rafael Devers where you brought in Bregman to play third, you moved him to first base and it blew up that fucking team. Jose Altuve has a much more distinguished resume at his position than Rafael Devers does at his position, and he offered. So, again, we are blessed. Let's take a step back. No matter what happens with this season, Astros fans are blessed, and we have been for 10 years now. The run started in 2015, and here we are through 2025. You played competitive baseball for 10 years. This year may not be awesome. Okay. Altuve is still on a push for 3,000 hits. And, there's still a lot of young, fun things to watch. So I tip my cap and we'll move on.
All right. Are you ready for the almost favorite segment of the week?
It is time for that, Scott. The scumbag of the week. I got a good one, but I'm going to let you go first.
All right.
Mine is technically non-sports, but it is not political, so I'm okay there.
All right. So the National Football League releases its schedule. The Houston Texans, they get to go to London week 6 to play the Jags, which is a home game for the Jags. Although, the Jags can't, don't draw dick in Jacksonville anyway. So, they could play all their games in London for what anybody else cares. But tell me, what is the customary outcome in the next game for teams that go over to?
You're supposed to get a bye, right?
Well, so here's what the NFL has done. They have set up a rule where they go to the teams and they say, hey, it's customary you get a bye, but you can deny the bye and you can accept the bye where we put it. So that's week 6, right, Tim? So the Texans
where they put it?
No, we're the game where they're playing Jacksonville. It's week 6.
Okay.
So they could have put the bye week 7, but the Texans said, no, we want to do it somewhere else. Now, you want to guess when the bye is?
Week 5.
That would actually be extra asshole behavior. It's actually week 8.
1 week later.
They're hoping for like week 10, week 11. Hey, get fresh down the stretch, and because like 4 of our last 5 games are on the road and playing in probable freezing temperatures.
Yeah.
So the NFL schedule makers really fucked us over this year.
Yeah, I think that'll be a make or break part of the Texans schedule. If you're planning to win in the playoffs, you got to be able to go on the road to cold weather environments and win football games. So I think it'll be interesting to see this team. I was thinking of hat tipping CJ Stroud, but I went out to instead based on our conversation. But Stroud's put the work in this offseason. D'Amico's made some comments, and it looks like Stroud requested Rutledge to be next to him with his locker after he went and visited Rutledge at his hotel after being drafted and welcomed him to the team. If that's going to be your starting center, I am very okay with them building a bond and moving forward, kind of welcoming to the league and attaching to him. So we shall see from CJ.
Absolutely.
All right, Scott. I just got back from a business trip to Miami. Okay. I stayed in a very nice hotel because that's where this conference that I went to was at. It was the Lowe's, was the location right on the beach in Miami Beach. They have locations across the country. There's one, I believe there's one in Arlington. Actually, no, that's a live. Either way, Lowe's Hotel, very famous brand, very fancy rooms. $500 a night they were charging for a room there. Again, I didn't pay for this. It was company paid. I also went and we hosted a fancy dinner, $100 a person dinner. That dinner cost on my company card $5,000 for the amount of people that we hosted at Smith and Walensky's. All right. Well-known steakhouse. Both of these locations are fancy enough that they have custom like paper towel to wipe your hands when you get done using the restroom, right? With their logo on it, the fancy thick paper towels. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
But do you know what they're not fancy enough to have, Scott? More than one fucking ply toilet paper. What are we doing? Both of these places are high-end luxury locations. You're getting custom fucking paper towels printed for you. And you're putting one ply out there? One ply in my room for $500 a night? I get one fucking ply? What are we doing? What the fuck are we? Are you kidding me? I can't even I normally travel with wipes just to be safe because you just never know. But when you're going to a place like this, I figured I'm going to be okay. I'm going to a fancy place. Most of them, I've been in hotels that are this fancy that offer a bidet. I thought maybe that would be the case. But no, I get fucking sandpaper to wipe my ass with in a fucking luxury hotel and a fine dining establishment. I am livid about that. In fact, when I filled out the comment card, I get high ratings on everything else except that. And I put like, how dare you put one ply toilet paper in this room? And I got an email back that said, we're sorry you're unhappy with the quality of toilet paper in the rooms.
And we're here to say, we're not going to get too much into detail, but Tim and I go through some toilet paper. We'll just say that, right?
I have some digestional distress after having a steak dinner.
I usually do as well. So I feel your pain, definitely.
And Scott, I will add at Smith and Walensky's, I asked for my steak medium rare plus. Okay. I like steak. I know exactly what I want. I don't quite want it like the medium rare that they're going to cook it, but I don't want it medium. I want it medium rare plus. That is a thing. This lady looks at me. She goes, so you mean medium then? I'm like, no, I don't want it medium. I want it medium rare plus. Well, it came out fucking well done. $100 dinner. I get a well done fucking steak. I can only eat half of it. But yeah, it was. I was disappointed. I was really excited for that dinner. I picked the whole menu. I picked the wine. I picked dessert. I picked everything, and my steak is fucking well done.
Oh, that's rough.
So scumbags for sure, Scott. Both of those locations.
All right. We ready for that special part of the show?
That special comment. If you don't like us making fun of some of the stupid things that are said in the political world, this is your opportunity to hop off because we will be laughing at people.
All right, Tim. I've got these loaded in some different spots. So if you don't mind, I want to lead with our president. So are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so comment number one, and I know some of these are coming. So a reporter to Trump, are you attending your son's wedding?
I saw this one.
He'd like me to go.
Yeah.
Try. I said, this is not a good timing for me. There's this thing called Iran and other things. Here's the kicker, Tim. He's a person I've known for a long time. His son.
Yep.
He's known for a long time.
I've known him for a really long time. Some would say his whole life. Scott, I don't know about you. I can't, before you move on, my dad was in my wedding, right? Like my dad was one of my groomsmen. I can't imagine him not being there, let alone being like, I got a lot going on. I got this fucking war that I started. I'd like to be there. He'd like me to be there. No shit, he wants you to be there. You're his fucking dad.
But I love I've known him a long time.
Known him a long time. He's a good guy.
I mean, if you pulled I hardly know him. Don't know what you're talking about.
You know for a fact, Scott, that this is a guy that has like pictures of his children in his home and they're ranked, right? Like the favor that you're in at the moment, like that's the order that your picture is on his dresser. Like at one point it was Ivanka on the top.
It always is Ivanka. What are you talking about?
I think she's wavered on him. I think Barron is probably number one right now because he really can't hurt him at this point. And then like everybody else kind of fucking goes around and around and around for second best at that point. But I do think that like he's definitely the kind of guy who has like a rotating list of like who my favorite kid is at this point and lets them know. Like I think once he makes a change to it, he then takes a picture and sends it in the group chat from his Trump mobile phone to everybody now that they all have them.
Okay, so number 2 is not actually a quote, Tim. Number 2 is more of a situation. And there was an event being held in Washington, D.C., and I'm not even going to try to get the name right. I'm just going to call it Christopalooza and just kind of go with that. It was one of those Christian nationalist events. And so, you get all these people. And of course, the speakers are so horrible that, by the time Trump was speaking, half of them were gone at least. But Trump did not go to speak at the event, even though it's a 4-minute walk from the White House. He had a pre-recorded message, but it wasn't a pre-recorded message for just the event, Tim. It was from that time, a few weeks back when he was reading the Bible, on the air. And so his people just kind of repackaged that together and sent it over there. And that was Christopalooza.
They're so dumb. They're all so dumb. Like they all still think he cares about them. It's so fucking dumb.
Okay, so the last one on the Trump train, this one's a bit long, so you have to bear with me here. It's from one of his Truth Social, what do you call it? Truths?
I think they're called truths.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in here. If Iran surrenders, admits their navy is gone and resting at the bottom of the sea, and their air force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped and hands held high, each shouting, I surrender, because they speak English, while wildly waving the representative white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all necessary documents of surrender and admits their defeat to the great power and force of the magnificent USA, the failing New York Times, the China Street Journal, which is also the Wall Street Journal, corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, and all other members of the fake news media will headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. The Democrats and media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely crazy. President DJT.
All right. Let's start with the first part, the way the surrender is going to happen, right? This is a guy who has watched way too many like 1970s to 80s war movies where like everything's blown up and you just see like a parade of like Asian people marching out of the jungle because it's a Vietnam movie and all their hands are in the air, or it's like we killed some random Russians and we're marching them out and their hands are all in the air, or it's Nazis and their hands are like literally this guy watches so much fucking television that he literally thinks that's how surrenders work. That you're just gonna see like hut, and they're all just like walking down the fucking road like at South Park with their hands in the air, and everybody's like, President Trump's so amazing, he did this. Oh my God, we won, total win, and he has no ideas of the realities of war. And I'm so I am so over the Dumbo Rats and all that other shit. Like, it's just like he thinks he's so fucking funny. It's just like you have that dumbass uncle who always makes the stupid jokes and then laughs at him, and he's the only one in the room. Except that's your president, right? The uncle that you wouldn't leave your kid alone with for if he was the last person in the world who could watch your kid, you would just rather bring your kid with you to leave this guy alone with him. That's who's in charge of us. And we decided that's who could control the strongest military in the entire world and pop off fucking missiles and all that. Like it's just so pedantic and it's so immature. And the fact that still so many people get riled up by it and play into it. And I had an experience, Scott, in Miami. I met an info warrior in real life. And if you don't know what I mean, an info warrior is a listener of Alex Jones. Somehow this guy gets invited to our dinner that we're hosting, and he starts telling everybody that Alex Jones is right about everything, including the fact that they're turning the frogs gay. He specifically mentioned that frogs are being turned gay, and Alex Jones is right about that. So, like, I'm being told about this by him in the parking lot after everything's done. And it just so happens to listen to a podcast for 5 straight years that debunks everything that Alex Jones says. So he's barking up the wrong tree here. And then I said something about like just fascists and government. He's like, words matter. Okay, you can't just call people fascists. Words matter. I'm like, do we need to look at tweets like this where you say Dumbo Rats and all these things, the enemy from within? That is classic fascism. We don't have to there are still people prominent in fucking business who are well off traveling to fucking conferences with $2,000 tickets, sponsorship for 15 grand. This guy owns a business or is part of a business that can fucking afford this. And this is the level that we're dealing with.
Well, Tim, yeah, we're not fascist, but you and I, along with millions of other people, have been labeled enemies of the state.
Yes, we have. Yeah. So the winner here is Trump skipping his son's wedding. By the way, that's
okay. I was going to say, yeah.
There's no way, as dumb as this one is, as frustrating as it is, the fact that he's basically saying like, I'm not going to go to my son's wedding, even though I've known him for a long time, just fantastic.
Okay, so I've got a couple of good nominees here for the non-Trump category, although everything is kind of Trump related. So the first one, I don't know if you've heard this one, but this one's classic. CNN's K-File reveals the man leading the hantavirus response in the United States is a specialist in penile implants with little public health experience. And hosted a
little public health what?
With little public health experience.
Oh God.
And hosted a podcast called Erection Connection.
Oh goodness. Okay. It's a good start. You're off to a strong start.
So that's number one.
I will say, in between St. Mary's and the University of Houston, I took a semester at San Jack, Scott. And unfortunately, I had to register late. So, like, a lot of the classes were filled already. One of the classes I got into was human sexuality, was the class that I know what a penile implant looks like because it showed it in this fucking textbook. So if you are someone who wants to have your vagina turned into a penis, I know what the step-by-step procedure looks like thanks to page 232 of whatever the fuck that textbook was.
And who would not be riveted by an hour and a half podcast of Erection Connection?
I gotta be honest with you, the name alone does make me want to stop in and check out, like, what are we talking about? Like, is it like how to get more powerful? Like, what can you talk about for an hour and a half about erections?
No. Do you remember the episode where the New Year's Eve episode, the millennial episode, where God comes down
of what show?
Of South Park,
Okay.
And Stan is like, because they think they have like an infection, an anal infection, they're bleeding, and so they think they're getting their period.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
form that
And
club,
they're
and
bleeding out of their butts.
it's like it's got to be like that where they're sitting around. I remember my first erection back when I
Oh
was
my
10.
God. Do you think he just has like a call-in line where he's like, I want everyone to call in and tell me about the best erection they ever had in their entire life? Like, tell me about the favorite boner you ever had. What'd you do with it? Were you alone? Were you with someone? They tell me now, like the next week's like, what was your most awkward erection? Well, I want to know a time when you were in high school and you were up at the chalkboard and you got a narb for no apparent reason boner. And I want to hear about those stories, guys.
All right.
Tell me
All
about a
right.
time you couldn't get an erection. Was there a time that you wanted to have one and it just didn't work? It's okay. This is the erection connection. We are connected. We are men here. We can share those moments.
Safe space. All right. So number 2 is from your favorite Fox host and mine, Jesse Waters.
Yeah, for sure.
Quote, I did some research on the blacks.
Oh, goodness.
Blacks for 150 years were only represented 10 to 15% of the American population. Okay? That is not much. So if they want to have more seats, they got to get in between the sheets.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Number 1, I'd love to know what his research is. Like, how do you just do research on the blacks? Like, does that, like, again, dear Google, he's probably still asking Jeeves, first of all. He's trying to ask Jeeves these questions. Okay.
I'm trying to get on Netscape. Where's Netscape?
I don't even know where to go with that one, Scott. He's such a piece of shit, but that's a fantastic quote. I think anytime like you get caught fucking, well, Jesse Waters told me to fuck. Okay, I don't know what you want from me here, sir. Jesse Waters said I need to fuck more. What do you want from me?
Well, of course, nobody can be racist whenever they, insert the
blacks.
Because
hang on, if he would have said I did research on blacks, is that worse than saying I did research on the blacks? Like, they both sound awful to me.
I think the makes it worse because
does it?
No, because think about it. I mean, you could say the Jews or the Hispanics or the
Like, I did research on Mexicans. I did research on the Mexicans. They're both not great.
No, they're not great. No, they're not
great.
But
then the blacks makes it even worse because you could have said the African American community. You could have said a lot of different things, but to just say the blacks is pretty bad.
My favorite part is the whole, the whole context of it's okay that we're disenfranchising you because y'all need to get into between the sheets if you want to combat that. All right.
But then at the same time, we've complained that like black people have too many kids and they get on what, like there's so many racist tropes about black people and their children. But yet here's Jesse Waters saying like, nah, y'all need to fuck more. Like I would literally, and I would have that quote clipped and ready to go anytime someone tried to give me shit. Like, now I'm about to go bang. Jesse Waters said I gotta go fuck. So hey guys, I'll see you. Hey, can you take care of this for me? Nope. Jesse Waters said I gotta go bang my lady. So I will be back. Be back.
All right. Our last nominee, well-known representative and famous historian, Anna Paulina Luna. She said, quote, and it's so interesting because you have, the evolution of the King James Bible. As we all know, that story, he wanted to get remarried. They wrote it. It's what happened. I see that puzzled look in your face because you're
a little context with this quote, baby.
Well, I love the fact that it was not King James; it was Henry VIII.
Yeah, that's true.
And they did not republished the Bible just for Henry VIII. He literally just made himself the head of the Church
Yeah.
of England. The King James Bible, it may have been done at the time of King James, but I don't think, James was in the room, saying, I want this book and not that book.
He wasn't red penning it himself.
I may have fallen asleep at that part of history.
He's got the 3 capitalization lines. Nope, they missed it right here. SP ? Spelling.
I don't remember. I don't remember that part of history, Tom. I remember the whole song. I'm here to eat, I am, and allow me to eat a turkey or a ham.
I don't know anything really about. I'm not a King James Bible reader. Like you and I don't read the King James version of the Bible, right? Like we read the Catholic version of the Bible. So I've never really I know that there's different versions. I know there's different translations. People have taken certain things out to serve their purposes, but to then lie about what the actual purpose that's what they do, though. That's what they fucking do, Scott.
But and I know this is not the winning quote of the week, but
it's not.
But Christian fascist, I love the fact that they, want to follow everything that's quote unquote in the Bible. And like our defense secretary who quotes something that's clearly not in the Bible. These people want to sit there and say it says this, it says that, but they can't even tell you which Bible they're reading.
I would love to see a world. I don't want this to actually happen, but I can imagine it. Have you seen the Boondock Saints?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I can imagine a world where Pete Hegseth kills somebody, but says that and shepherds we shall be for thee, my Lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from my hand, and and he just fucking kills him. I can imagine a world where Pete Hegseth thinks he's a Boondock Saint, going around killing all the bad people. I truly could imagine him thinking he is one of those people.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think I know who your winner is going to be, but let me just double check who you got winning that round.
I'm going to surprise you. And I'm going with the Erection Connection. I think that is fantastic. I think just from the name of the pod, there's the possibilities of that podcast, having never listened to an episode of it, going only off the title of it, is absolutely endless. And it kind of makes me want to start a competing podcast also called The Erection Connection. That's strictly a call-in show where I want people to talk about their erections. I just want to take calls where people talk about their fucking boners, man.
Well, what I love about that is that, thank God, most of the experts say the hantavirus is not going to be dangerous. But can we, when we've got these things that can kill us, can we actually put people who maybe know what the fuck they're doing?
But let's be honest, Scott. We have spent more money on this country making sure that old people could still get fucking hard than we have on anything else. So it really kind of does make sense that our public health is led by a dick doctor at the end of the day, right? We haven't cured cancer yet, but holy shit, can old guys get hard a lot of different ways. You want it right now? We got Viagra. You want to pick the moment? You got Cialis. You want to sit in a bathtub in a fucking meadow and bend your wife over that bathtub? Cialis is ready to fucking go for you based on that commercial.
Hey, do you know how Viagra was invented or discovered?
I don't know.
So they were originally trying to go for a hair growth drug.
Oh God.
And so, there's, you got the test, you got the testing group. It kind of look like, whoa.
Well, these are the kind of stories we can talk about on Erection Connection, Scott. We can literally say, I want to get that guy in. I want him to tell me a story of I was trying to grow some hair. It didn't work, but holy shit, is this the best fucking boner I've ever... Guys, see how hard my fucking dick is.
I got the cure for male pattern baldness. Wait a minute. No, whoa.
Hello, big fella. You've never looked better. Now, this is what Erection Connection needs, Scott, and these kind of stories. I think we should start a new podcast. I don't think, but I will be fair. I don't think that one can be a video podcast. I think that one has to be audio
Oh,
only.
that has
On
to be audio.
Erection Connection, we could get in trouble real
We
fast.
could do like some fake phone calls where
Oh my god!
throws our voice. Hi, this is Johnny.
Everybody has one of those things. Do you remember chat? Do you remember Chat Omegle, where like you just or Chat Roulette, where it would just randomly put you with a random person on the internet, but like more than half the time it was just a fucking penis. Like it was like you'd be paired with someone, it's just a guy holding his dick, and you're like, oh, and you're fucking like on to the next one. It's just like another fucking guy holding his dick. You're like, oh, and then like you get another one. It's like two high school kids laughing, and then you hit next again. It's another guy holding his dick, and you're like, I'm done. And it's like that was the whole fucking thing. Like it was half of the fucking traffic was just guys holding their dick, wanting somebody to see it. I think that's our audience. Those guys, they want to be on the Erection Connection. Let's fucking get them all together.
Oh man, I don't know if that one would get past the censors, but you know what?
This one doesn't have legs, Scott.
Give it a shot. All right, Tim. We got anything else going? Or
I think that's it. I think we're gonna end on a high note, literally with our Erection Connection there. And call it a day. But we appreciate everybody who stuck around for that one. I'm so glad we made it worth your while, and we're able to send everybody off happy and feeling good after that special comment, Scott.
Absolutely. All right, Tim.
All right, big road trip for the Astros. We will see everybody next week as they've just taken care of business against the Rangers. Hopefully, have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day to everybody, and we will be back next week.